Most people think food is either safe or unsafe. But the truth is much quieter than that. Sometimes the danger is created after the food exists, not before you eat it, but because of what happens to it, and that shift changes everything. Food can become harmful through chemistry, not intention. Invisible reactions slowly rewrite what you're consuming. Same food, different outcome. It starts with something surprisingly simple: contamination, heat, salt, or alcohol. At first, these seem unrelated, but they all trigger chemical changes, and those changes create new compounds. Some of them interact directly with your DNA. That's where the real story begins. Think about food contamination for a moment. Certain fungi grow on improperly stored food. They produce a compound called aflatoxin B1. It doesn't look dangerous, but inside the body, it behaves differently. It forms direct attachments to DNA in liver cells, like a typo written into a permanent document. And this is where people underestimate the risk, because the damage is microscopic but cumulative, small changes repeated over time. Now consider something more familiar: salt. It feels harmless, even essential, but in high amounts, it disrupts the stomach lining. That protective barrier begins to weaken. And here's the subtle shift. A weakened barrier invites more damage, especially from infections like H. pylori. Inflammation becomes easier to sustain, and chronic inflammation changes cellular behavior, like a door left slightly open. You don't notice it at first, but over time, it matters. Now shift to alcohol. The effect isn't just what you drink, it's what your body turns it into. Ethanol becomes acetaldehyde during metabolism, and acetaldehyde is highly reactive. It interferes with DNA structure and, even more importantly, with repair. This is where things quietly escalate. Damage happens and correction fails. A double hit to the system. Damage plus failed repair. Now think about temperature. Not cooking, but drinking. Very hot beverages above 65 degrees Celsius. They cause repeated thermal injury. The epithelial lining takes the impact, and it has to regenerate again and again. But constant repair isn't neutral. It increases the chance of errors, like rewriting the same sentence repeatedly. Eventually, a mistake slips through. You're starting to see the pattern. The risk isn't random. It follows mechanisms. Now, let's step into cooking. Heat changes food at a molecular level. Carbohydrates undergo the Maillard reaction. This can form acrylamide. Proteins and creatine in meat form HCAs. Fat dripping into flame creates PAHs in smoke. That smoke settles back onto the food. And this is where things connect. These compounds can damage DNA. Different pathways, same consequence. Heat creates chemistry. Chemistry shapes biological impact. But here's something often overlooked. These reactions are not fixed. They depend on conditions. Antioxidants can interrupt reactive intermediates. Acidic environments can shift reaction pathways, like adjusting the route of a chemical journey so the outcome changes. Same ingredients, different chemistry, and this leads to a deeper realization. Cancer risk from food is not just about the food. It's about what happens to it and what it becomes inside you. Reactive compounds shape long-term outcomes. That is the quiet mechanism underneath. The process is silent, but the impact is not. So the real takeaway is awareness, understanding how conditions change chemistry and how chemistry affects biology. You now see these mechanisms more clearly, while others only notice the surface of food. You understand what shapes its deeper impact. That is exactly what we explore on SRT Science. Same exposure, different biological outcome. Stay curious about what's beneath the surface, because that's where real understanding lives. And take care of your body in the ways that truly matter.